No doubt you've heard the stories about children who are obsessed with pageants and becoming a star. And most of the time, their overbearing stage parents are right behind them. But are those parents pushing them too hard?
That's right. Today, we'll explore the life of child actors and how, as a parent, you can create a supportive environment for a child who really wants to be in the business.
And in Southern California, it seems to be a breeding ground for young athletes as well. But are parents also aware of the emotional impact that sports participation can have on their child?
And with us to shed some light on the subject is Mary Namey, a licensed child and adolescent psychotherapist who also happens to be head coach for the soccer club team Southern California Blues. Thanks, Mary, for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
You know, we all tend to have at least one child or two children in some kind of sport, whether it be competitive or just kind of for recreation. You want them to be physically fit, you want them to learn teamwork and the whole wonderful development of it. But are we pushing them too hard? Where's the balance?
Well, the balance comes in recognizing that, first of all, sports are broken into two categories. There's recreational sports and there's competitive sports. So the initial balance is making sure your child is in the environment that's proper for their ability level and their desire. To force a child to play in a level that's above their ability or their desire, the child's not going to be happy and is likely going to burn out. Needing to understand also that there's a balance in sports between developing the child at the actual sport, developing the skills in the sport, develop them as human beings, and making sure they're having fun all at the same time.
Yeah, so whether it's recreational or competitive, though, there are some things it seems parents can keep in mind to help them develop in their sport and to help them develop as people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have some guidelines that you've even...
I've had some guidelines that I've just kind of worked out over the years of working with parents and children.
Let's go ahead and go to your first guideline.
Well, the primary objectives in sports, I feel, are three: developing your child's skill set in that particular sport, then developing their personal character through that sport, which I'll discuss more later.
Because we can really lose focus, because if the point is to not develop as an athlete or to really play the game, why be out there in part?
Exactly. And you really need all three, because the sporting environment is really a rich environment to learn a lot of other life skills that benefit people in their adult years with relationships and with business. So I like to focus on those equally as the skill development, and since we're dealing with children here, not adults and professionals, having fun.
Let's go to your second one.
Letting your child choose his or her own dreams. This can be an issue for parents or families basketball for years. And your child may not be a basketball player. Your child may be a swimmer.
Right.
Or may not want to be an athlete at all, may want to be in some other environment.
The kids kind of let you know when they're playing baseball and they're standing out in the field scratching and
bored
looking
stiff.
around,
Yeah.
bored stiff. They let you know. But that brings up a point. At what point do you let the kid quit one sport that they have committed to go on to find the one that might be better for them?
And Mary, this is something I know with people with young children. They want to expose them to many different sports, so they kind of see, do they like volleyball, do they like soccer, is it baseball, is it swimming, or whatever. And then do you just suggest talking to the child, or what's the best way to decide which one you're going to focus on, because you can't cover all of them?
You can expose them to a lot of different sports when they're younger, because the seasons tend to be short in a recreational environment. There's leagues at Boys and Girls Clubs that last 10 weeks, so you can try a little volleyball for 10 weeks. You have to know your child, know their body language. If they're excited to go to practices and games, if they're starting to resist going to practices or games, they're probably not enjoying it. And then you need to observe where they seem to be the most successful. And sometimes a child might choose a sport that you don't think is the sport that they're the most successful at, but they have more passion for.
So do you believe they should just stay with it throughout that one short season?
You need to finish what you started. Commitment, I think, is a real important issue in life, and it's one of the values we can teach children through sports, that once you sign up for something, you stick with it through that season. There's a team that's dependent on you. You have a role on that team. And it's just a really important lesson in life to finish those things you've started.
And sometimes to understand that you'll survive something you even hate.
Yeah,
it's true.
And you may end up pulling something out of it you enjoyed and you loved.
Totally different from the sport, maybe. You've learned something else from the
friendships
experience.
or another experience.
Right.
You know, and maybe the kid lets you know whether they are recreational or competitive in their nature.
Yeah, which I think is your third point. How do you decide between those different levels of competitive sports versus the recreational?
Well, recreational sports are pretty much what's available under the age of 8. So any environment you get your child in under the age of 8, it's most likely going to be a recreational environment. And then if your child sifts to the top of that environment, they're consistently one of the better players on the team, and they seem to be asking for more. They want to go to camps, and they're disappointed when the season's ended, or they're asking, is there more practice today? Then you may want to move your child up to a more competitive environment. And by competitive, I mean a club environment where they're playing that sport most of the year and they're getting professional coaching and training at the
That
sport.
is a commitment. I have neighbors that have their kids in club soccer and they're traveling
Absolutely.
out of the county.
Life as you know it is
traveling all
over
over.
when your kids join a club sport.
That goes beyond the kid because it goes to the parents too. And another point that really goes to the parents is the sideline behavior
My favorite
of the
topic.
parents. And boy, we're out there broadcasting to the kids how to behave, aren't we? And it's not always pretty.
It's not always pretty. The reason behind that, you have to understand, when the game starts, the parents forget their parents and they become fans. And fans, by definition, are emotional, irrational, and biased. And they will say things to the players, they'll say things to the opponents, they'll have complaints about the officiating only when it goes against them. They're fine when it goes for them. So parents need to always remember that they are parents and that your child is playing to please you and wants to perform for you. And when you're screaming from the sidelines, not only is it usually embarrassing to your child, it's distracting, and it may be different information than the coach is giving them. So you need to, the best advice I can give to parents on the sideline is buy a good beach chair, buy a good umbrella, and bring sunflower seeds. Sit in the shade, watch the game, and keep your mouth busy. And observe.
Your fingers.
Good,
so
good
really,
idea.
beside way to go, just
Exactly.
take it easy.
They do something well, yay, way to
Just
go,
be mellow.
cheer, but be mellow. Sit, don't stand and pace the sideline like a big wave.
Yeah.
Don't give any direction.
Should parents coach their children?
In a recreational league, recreational leagues are hugely dependent on the awesome volunteer parents that are doing the coaching and the officiating. So in that environment, it's unavoidable. Those environments wouldn't exist without those parents volunteering. In a competitive environment, in a club environment where parents are paying money, a lot of money, for their children to participate in a sport, I think it's very unhealthy for a parent to be coaching their own child.
Okay.
It's a dual relationship in the child's life. The child needs a break from sport and home, and when the parent is also the coach, they can't get away from it. Also, being a coach, you often fall under times of, let's say, less popularity with the parents and with the team.
Sure.
And if your child's on the team, that puts them in a really awkward position socially to, this is my mom or my dad, and everyone's kind of upset with him or her right now. It's just best to avoid it and keep
Okay.
it clean. Be their parent.
Gotcha.
Pay someone else to be their coach.
Your next one is developing decent human beings, and let's speak to that.
Yeah, developing human beings. I'm a huge believer that in the sporting environment, there's all the ingredients there that exist in life. Goal setting, dealing with success in a humble way, dealing with disappointment, social conflict in a team sport, managing cliques and managing social problems, commitment. And these issues really need to be, the child needs help guiding through these issues as they come up. A parent can help their child by encouraging them to talk things out with teammates. I have all the kids on my team call me themselves if they're going to miss practice. And these children are 8 and 9 years old. They'll get on the phone and call me themselves. I think it's a good skill for them to learn. If they have a question about their playing time or what's going on in a game, I encourage the parents to have the child talk to me themselves, because I'm very interested in developing them as human beings, not just athletes.
Every pace along the way is an opportunity for a lesson.
Yeah.
And some of those lessons we're compelled to want to give after the game, on the way home,
on the way
after the
home.
game. What should we think of on those long rides home from the
those
away
away
games?
The away games, yes.